This was the C# console game. They asked to define a number of functions which were called from the main program file here. And I'll just run through the ones that they wanted to do, and I'll just discuss the program.cs file in a second. The update position was what they wanted me to create. So the string, the key pressed, which was a string. So if you hit the up key on the keyboard, it comes in as a string, not a character or an ASCII character. So that string, and then they have two variables here which are passed by reference. That's what the out keyword is for. It used to be an ampersand in C, but it's that they're integers and they're passed back out, so they're passed by reference. Okay, that there is they must be initialized here, or you get all sorts of errors because that's just the behavior of those out variables. Then the key pressed is a string, and if it's left, then it's on the x coordinate. It's going left, so it's left on the x Cartesian coordinate. If it's right, then x is going up. It's going to the right, right? If it's up arrow, then you're going on the Cartesian coordinate, xy coordinate. Y is becoming more negative, so it's going up, and down y is going positive, right? And those values, then those two values which it wants, are then passed back out by reference via the out keyword, right? Then the other one was the update the cursor. So the key pressed was sent in, and then you'd have to, a left arrow, you would return that, and that was printed onto the console at the point, the current cursor coordinates. So depending on when you would change from left arrow to right arrow, and it would have to update that cursor, and that was what was there. There, and the new keyword is used interchangeably with the override keyword if you need to override a method. Public static, they were public characters, returns a character, and that's all that needed to be done. Static was called from the class, so it's not part of it. And it cannot be part of an object. They're not creating an object anyway. This is just a class file. Then the keep in bounds, there was the maximum value. It could go from 0 to 9. So if the coordinate came in and it was negative, it would go back to positive. If it was greater than a maximum value, which was usually, it was the buffer, it was 10. If it was greater than 10, which is either you couldn't, if it was greater than 9, because it could go from it was exclusive, so it could go from 0 to 9. So if max value is 10 minus 1, so if we went over 9, it would be brought back to 9, and that would determine the boundaries. The did score just means that if the fruit, the character x, and if the cursor x, cursor x and cursor y was the same as fruit x and fruit y, then it had hit, and therefore you would return true. Otherwise you would return false. You hadn't hit yet, and the game would continue. In the pro, they didn't really want us to look at this, but I took a look at it anyway. And the just comes in here. That was all just initialization. The guts of it is down here. It clears it goes into a loop waiting for the that's just setting up a random position for the object that we're trying to get to. It goes into a while loop, calling the interface over here for your key presses. Okay, it clears the console on each iteration of while. I disagree with that. I'll tell you why in a second, because it's refreshing the entire screen. It doesn't have to. It only has to clear the cursor. It's changing the cursor, and then it's writing a new cursor here. It says write cursor. When we go into the function over on the other one to get the new cursor, it writes the new cursor, but it clears the entire screen. All you really had to do there is write a blank cursor to the current position, and then delete the current cursor without actually having to update the entire screen. So you're having to update the entire screen, so it probably wouldn't be the best way to go with that. That just sets the cursor position there. Again, wherever we're at, right? For the fruit, it's defining that. Again, it has to write that on each iteration, which it shouldn't have to do. But that's the way it's doing it, and it's writing the fruit at that point. So it's resetting everything. This uses this read key, which the CKI has a string in it, that that gets fed into the subsequent calls down here. So we got a string key here, and we feed in these variables as out, so they come back as references, and the call change and the row change, which are updated, they come back in here as references. So they're not actually set here; they're set inside update position and come back out as references here because they're passed by reference, and they go in there. And then we have the update cursor, and then it just resets it and comes back up again, right? It resets if you, but each time you press a key, it has to go back up and refresh the screen every time. I think you be each in the when it resets it up here, it clears the console there. You should just clear the spot that the cursor is on, and that will allow you then to update that, so you don't have to keep on clearing screen and resetting that. So I probably wouldn't go with that one at all. That's it for that. Okay.